Back with yet another Madden 26 tutorial. This one on how to quick adjust the secondary. You know, I always do the quick adjustments tutorials every year for college football and Madden before college football even came back. So now we're back with the first one for Madden 26, which will be the how to make quick adjustments with the secondary. I will follow this up with the linebackers, the defensive line, and the entire defense, just like I did with college football 26. Again, like I mentioned in my previous tutorials, if you play college football 26, then you already know how this goes. But if you haven't and you only play Madden, that's what this is here for. This is here for you. So we're going to jump right into it. We're going to pick a play. Let's say, matter of fact, I'm going to pick one more DB friendly. Like, let's go with dime. And we'll pick Tampa 2. We'll pick a random play on offense. So first and foremost, you want to press Y or triangle on PlayStation. And what this will do is it will bring up coverage adjustments for the secondary. So you have your left stick options, you have your right stick options, and then you also have the options with the icon, which is individual, quick adjust, sticks, and show blitz. And I'm going to go in depth on what all of these things mean. So with the left stick, if you flick the left stick up, it will give cushion. If you flick the left stick left, it will show 2. If you flick the left stick down, it will press. If you flick the left stick right, it will show 3. So the right stick controls all your shading abilities, which is shading over the top, underneath, inside, outside. So basically, if you flick the right stick up, it will shade over the top. If you flick the right stick left, it will shade inside. If you flick the right stick down, it will shade underneath. And of course, if you flick the right stick right, it will shade outside. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate to you what all of these things mean. So right now, we pressed Y once. So say we want to give cushion. What we're going to do is we're going to flick the left stick up. And as you can see, your entire secondary decided they wanted to back off. So say you wanted to bring those guys in, you wanted to pinch them, you wanted to press them. You press Y. And you flick the left stick down. And instead of giving cushion, they will press. All right, had to change plays so I can show you what the show 2 and show 3 look like. So right now we're in a cover 4. Say we wanted to show 2 like we were in a cover 2. You will press Y and flick the left stick left. And you can see now they adjust like they're in a cover 2. But really they're in a cover 4. And the same thing would go if you were to show that you were in a cover 3, which I don't think in a cover 4 it would actually make that adjustment and make them look like it. You would figure it would. Let's see. No, it doesn't. It just shows like it's in a cover 4 still. But you get the idea. If you were in a different formation, like a man blitz or something like that, and you wanted to show cover 3, it would adjust appropriately. All right, so now this won't be visual as much as the left stick options are, but you will get an idea for what this does. So just like I mentioned earlier on, if you use the right stick, it's going to control the shading options. So if you flick the right stick up to shade over the top, that would be in the event that you're playing against a user who likes to bomb deep 24/7, whether it be go routes, whether it be post corner routes deep. That's what that's for, to prevent the secondary from getting beat over the top. And all of the other options are self-explanatory. Just like over the top, shading underneath guards against users who like to run drags, use a bunch of underneath routes. So instead of guarding over the top, it'll guard underneath. But when you use these options, it leaves you susceptible for the opposite. So if you are playing somebody who is using a bunch of underneath routes and you shade underneath to beat that, and then they call something to go deep, you can get burned for that. So you just got to be real diligent for how you use these options. And the same thing with inside and outside. If you're getting beat inside a lot with, again, posts, drags, short cross, deep cross, things like that nature, you would want to flick the right stick to the left. That would shade inside. Now, if you're getting beat outside with corner routes, out routes, things of those natures, you're going to flick the right stick right. And that's how you shade your coverage depending on the user that you're playing against and their play style. Now, let's get into individual options, which would be A on Xbox or X on PlayStation. So you're going to press A, and then it's going to ask you an icon of a player on the offense that you want to individually guard against. So say we wanted to guard against Pittman. We're going to press X, which would be square on PlayStation. And it will bring up these options for you with the left stick and the right stick. With the left stick, you have the new route commit feature, which is just like shading, but it's a little bit more aggressive in a sense. And this is you being able to commit to a route to the outside, to the inside, or you can reset. Now, again, just like shading, this can leave you susceptible to the opposite. But this is far worse because you're fully committing, at least with shading, they're staying with them in a sense, in some way, shape, or form. This, if you completely commit to the outside, they will completely ignore an inside route and get beat drastically. And the same thing with inside versus outside. So you have to be careful when you are route committing, because your opponent could be setting you up and baiting you. And then once they feel like you're going to commit to the outside or commit to the inside, they'll do the opposite and have a one play TD all day. So also with the right stick, you have the ability to back that DB off, press that DB individually, shade left or shade right. Now, we already went into the shading options with the entire secondary. This is individually shading one player. So you would be shading that DB that's covering Michael Pittman Jr. For instance, I'll show you how to individually back off. So we're going to go ahead and flick that right stick up. And as you can see, that DB was the only DB to back off. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and individually press that DB. So I press Y and then I pressed A again. We're going to press Michael Pittman again, and we're going to flick that right stick down to press. Now you can see that DB was the only DB to press. Everybody else stayed normal, even though we're already in a press formation. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to those adjustments. We're going to shade left. Now, just like I mentioned with the entire secondary, if I shade left or right, you're not really going to be able to tell unless the play is in action. But you understand the concept of shading left and shading right. Shading left, guard against the outside. Shading right, guards against the inside. But it's not as aggressive as route committing. Route committing is completely ignoring the inside and guarding against the outside, or completely ignoring the outside and guarding against the inside. So now let's get into the other options. Let's get into quick adjust. So you will press Y or triangle on PlayStation, and then you press Y again to bring up the options. So now it's going to ask you for an individual player on the defense and not the offense. So let's say we go with Stingley over here. So you're going to have your left stick options, which is the play zone, and then you're going to have your right stick options, which is assignments. So the left stick options give you zone options, and this is going to be different with each player. So right now we're on the secondary, so you're going to see the options for secondary. If you're on linebackers, it's going to give you different zone options for linebackers and defensive linemen and so on and so forth. So for the DBs, what you're going to have, at least for the cornerback. So for Stingley right now, we have outside third, hard flat, cloud flat, and soft squat. So to cover the outside third, so we'll show you what his assignment looks like right now. Okay. So right now you can see he's in a deep zone. What we're going to do is we're going to press Y. We're going to press Y again. We're going to press Stingley again. And we're going to flick the left stick down to cover a cloud flat. Now you can see he's in a cloud flat. So say we want to switch that up, we're going to do it again, and we're going to do a hard flat. We flick the left stick left. Now he's covering a hard flat and not a cloud flat. So let's do it again, just to show you what everything looks like. So let's say we want to do a outside third. Well, now he's covering the deep zone again, and so on and so forth. Now let's go to assignments. So say we want to man him up over his opponent. So we're going to flick the right stick up. We're going to man him over Pierce by pressing B. And as you can see, everybody else is in a zone, but Stingley is manned up with Pierce now. So go back to that. Let's check out the other options yet again. Let's say we wanted to cover the outside quarter. Let's flick the right stick left, and it's back into a deep zone. So let's do again. Let's say we wanted to blitz him. We're going to flick the right stick down. So now you see he's in a blitz. So that's how you make individual adjustments with the secondary. So let's check out our other options really quick. So now you have left bumper, which would be L1 on PlayStation, 4 sticks, and right bumper, which would be show blitz. So we're going to get into left bumper first. So left bumper basically is if you're in a man coverage, or if you're in a cover 4 quarters, or anything of that nature, or even if you're in a cover 2 for that matter, and it's 3rd and 10, and you want to make sure, say your opponent is probably sending everybody on hitches that go 10 yards deep because they're trying to get the first down. If you want to make sure your defense is guarding at the marker of the first down, that's when you're going to press the left bumper or L1 on PlayStation. Now, again, you won't visually see anything in the actual adjustment of the defense, but when the ball is in motion and when it's live action, your defense will guard directly to the sticks to prevent those hitches or whatever routes your opponent has set up to get the first down, to get the exact first down yardage. Next, we're going to press Y again, and we're going to press right bumper or R1 on PlayStation, and that's going to show blitz. Now, whether you're blitzing or not, your defense will come up like they're planning on blitzing. That way, if you wanted to throw your opponent off and confuse them, make them think you're blitzing, but you're really going to drop back in coverage, you can do so. And that's how you make quick adjustments with the entire secondary on Madden. That's how you make quick adjustments with the entire secondary. That's how you make individual quick adjustments with each defensive back in the secondary. So again, if you found this video useful at all, please do feel free to like, comment, subscribe, click that notification tab so you can stay up to speed with more tutorials just like this for Madden 26, as well as other Madden 26 content coming soon. Again, I appreciate you all for tuning in. That's been my time. Till next time.